So I want you to imagine spending 30 years meditating in this freezing, completely silent cave.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds intense.
Right. I mean, you deny yourself every earthly comfort. You memorize thousands of pages of esoteric texts, and you just endure these agonizing internal battles.
All just to prove you're worthy of some kind of spiritual salvation.
Exactly. And then you finally make it to heaven, right? Only to find out that the person standing in line right in front of you got there simply because they kept their apartment clean and never complained about their neighbors.
And they always paid their mechanic on time or something like that.
Yes, literally just that. I mean, it would completely shatter your understanding of how the universe actually rewards effort.
It really would. You'd be furious.
Oh, you would be livid. But that radical, almost absurd level of accessibility is exactly what we are exploring today. So welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Our mission for you listening today is to break down this really fascinating translated text. It's from April 2009, written by an author named Xu Feng.
And the title itself is just, it's a massive pattern interrupt.
It really is. It's titled, "It is Actually Easy to Reach Heaven."
Yeah, which just feels almost provocative when you look at, well, all of human history.
Right, because we are so conditioned to believe that ultimate rewards require, ultimate suffering.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this because the author just completely flips the script on what it actually takes to achieve spiritual success.
He really does. But to appreciate how revolutionary his little shortcut is, Su Feng actually starts by kind of holding up a mirror to us.
Yeah, to the sheer, just exhausting complexity that humanity has manufactured around spirituality. I think he calls it a grand and moving picture.
What's fascinating here is how he identifies the psychological trap we've built for ourselves.
The bureaucracy of salvation.
Yes, exactly. Su Feng argues that heaven itself is inherently accessible, but humanity has created this massive bureaucracy.
Because we assume that if a process, whether it's getting a travel visa or attaining eternal life, if it doesn't involve a towering stack of paperwork and complex rules, it has to be a scam.
Right. We just do not trust easy things.
We really don't. I mean, I look at it like joining some hyper-exclusive club. We assume there has to be a grueling hazing process to get in.
Oh, for sure. And Xu Feng specifically lists out the methods we use to prove our worth. Things like meditating, practicing Zen, practicing Qigong.
Accumulating merit, and even enduring what he calls intense and ever-changing battle scenes.
Oh, we really shouldn't gloss over those terms,
What do you mean?
Well, when he mentions Zen or Qigong in this specific context, he's not talking about, like, a casual 20-minute mindfulness app session.
Oh, right, like taking a deep breath at your desk.
Yeah, no. Historically, in the pursuit of enlightenment, these are life-consuming disciplines.
Right.
They require immense caloric restriction, giving up your family, bending your mind into unnatural shapes.
So those battle scenes he references, that's the agonizing psychological warfare of trying to deny your own basic human nature.
Exactly.
It's like buying a massive, complex piece of gym equipment with 100 pulleys just to get fit when you could have, just gone for a walk.
That's a perfect analogy. It's the ultimate sunk cost fallacy applied to the human soul.
Right. We think I've suffered for 20 years to understand this one highly esoteric text. Therefore, God must value me way more than the guy who just enjoys his life.
And the mechanism driving that whole mindset is just ego.
Yeah, it has to be.
I mean, if the path to heaven requires a PhD in theology and decades of isolation, then reaching it makes you elite.
And Xu Feng is tearing down that entire construct.
He states very clearly that humanity has confused complexity with worthiness. The labyrinth of dogma isn't a requirement from the divine.
It's a barrier we built to keep other people out.
Spot on.
So, okay, if we tear down the labyrinth, what is actually left? I mean, if the grueling 50-year meditation retreat isn't the mechanism for entry, where exactly are we going?
Good question.
And what is the actual price of admission?
Well, Xu Feng points to a very specific destination. He calls it the 1,000-year world of heaven.
The 1,000-year world.
Right. And this terminology is really important because it doesn't describe some abstract, cloudy eternity with harps and wings.
Okay, so what is it then?
The text positions it as the closest heaven to the human world. It's like the immediate next rung on the ladder of existence.
Oh, a stepping stone, essentially.
Exactly. And to get onto this stepping stone, he provides a checklist.
Not a massive library of hidden knowledge, just a checklist.
Just 8 points.
Yeah.
He basically guarantees that if you achieve these 8 foundational rules, you are in.
Period. Just like that.
Just like that.
Sure.
So point one is kind of what you might expect, revering, believing in, and being grateful to God.
Makes sense for a spiritual text.
But point two instantly pivots. It demands revering life and revering nature.
Okay, I have to pause on that one because it feels like a total contradiction. Well, we are talking about graduating to an ethereal, otherworldly heaven, right? Yet his second mandatory requirement places this massive, non-negotiable premium on how you treat trees and animals and ecosystems in the physical world.
Yeah, it's very grounded.
Why would an afterlife checklist care so deeply about our current biological environment?
Well, that pivot reveals a core mechanism of how Shuafeng views existence.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Many traditional dogmas treat the physical earth as just a waiting room, right? Like this dirty, flawed place you're desperately trying to escape.
Like a bus terminal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But by making ecological reverence absolutely mandatory, Shuafeng is saying that this physical world is not a disposable waiting room. It is a manifestation of the divine.
Oh, wow. So how you treat the creation is the most accurate reflection of your respect for the creator.
That's it, exactly.
That makes total sense. You can't, trash the hotel lobby and then expect the manager to upgrade you to the penthouse suite.
I love that. Yes. It forces your spirituality to be a lived physical experience, not just some theoretical philosophy in your head.
Okay, so once you've established that baseline respect for the macro environment, God and nature, what does go next?
The text immediately zooms in on your microenvironment, your internal state.
Ah, here's where it gets really interesting, and honestly where I kind of have to push back on the author a bit.
Let's hear it.
So, the title promises that reaching heaven is easy. But look at point 3. It demands the complete eradication of negative internal states.
Right.
The text specifically says, no jealousy, resentment, greed, attachment, selfishness, or complaining about others.
It's a tall order.
A tall order. I read that and thought, sitting in a cave for a decade might actually be significantly easier than going a single week without complaining about my boss.
Or feeling a pang of jealousy while scrolling through social media.
Exactly.
This raises an important question about language, though. We often conflate the word simple with the word easy, and they are fundamentally different concepts.
That's a really good distinction.
Shuafeng's checklist is breathtakingly simple. You don't need to decipher ancient metaphors to understand the phrase, "do not complain about others." A child can understand it.
But executing it.
Executing it demands an unyielding, microscopic level of daily self-awareness.
Simple to understand, but just agonizing to practice. I mean, when you are stuck in traffic and someone cuts you off, your physiological response is resentment.
Oh, absolutely.
Overriding that impulse every single day is a heavy lift.
It is, because it strips away all the performative aspects of religion. You cannot fake a lack of jealousy.
Right. You can't just wear a robe and pretend.
Exactly. You can't hide behind ceremonial garb or some generous charitable donation if you are secretly consumed by resentment.
So he's basically arguing that holding on to those negative states ruins your spiritual frequency.
Yes, and that internal policing leads directly into point 4, which might actually be the most challenging directive of all.
Oh man, point 4 is massive. It states, do not restrict or hinder anyone's happiness and freedom for any reason or excuse. The absolute nature of that phrasing, for any reason or excuse, is staggering when you think about how human society actually functions.
It really is a universal non-interference clause.
Yeah.
And if you apply it to the daily life of a listener right now, it becomes deeply confronting.
Because we constantly hinder the freedom and joy of others, don't we? Often under the guise of love or responsibility.
All the time.
Like, we micromanage our partners because we think our way of loading the dishwasher is objectively better.
Or we force our kids into career paths they absolutely hate because we want them to have, stability.
Exactly that. We use societal expectations, possessiveness, and our own anxieties to just clip the wings of the people around us.
And Shuafeng is stating that the mechanism of controlling another human being carries immense spiritual weight.
That makes sense.
Right. To qualify for the 1,000-year world, you must completely release your desire to dampen the autonomy of another person. You literally have to trust the universe enough to let people be free.
But wait, if we aren't supposed to intervene in other people's joy, how does the author expect us to interact with society at all?
What do you mean?
Well, does he want us to just sit in an empty room, totally detached, just making sure we never accidentally step on someone's toes?
Not at all. And that's where the transition to outward action becomes crucial. Shuafeng doesn't want passive isolation.
Okay, good.
He demands active, highly principled participation in the mundane world. Which brings us to points 5 through 8.
Kindness, honesty, diligence, and trustworthiness.
Right. And he breaks these down in ways that feel almost comically ordinary.
Yeah. Like, kindness isn't just about grand gestures. He specifies kindness in heart, words, and actions.
And honesty isn't just don't lie. It's his active pursuit of truth without any deception.
But point 7 is the one that really caught me off guard.
The diligence one.
Yes. Under diligence, the text explicitly requires you to keep your living space and surrounding environment clean, tidy, beautiful, and harmonious.
It is a remarkable detail. It sounds more like a real estate listing requirement than a theology text.
It's literally a chore chart. The idea that scrubbing your kitchen counters or organizing your closet carries profound spiritual significance is hilarious to me.
But also kind of brilliant, right?
Very brilliant. But what is the actual mechanism there? Why does heaven care if I vacuum my rug?
Well, because your external environment is a direct manifestation of your internal state.
Ah.
If you are actually fostering harmony, clarity, and diligence in your mind, like points 3 and 4 demand, it is technically impossible to live in physical squalor.
Because a chaotic, filthy living space suggests a chaotic, distracted mind.
Exactly. By demanding cleanliness, Zofeng is asserting that spiritual purity isn't just some invisible aura.
Right, it's a tangible reality.
It's something that should be visibly obvious to anyone who walks into your living room.
You cannot claim to be spiritually elevated while leaving a mess for someone else to clean up.
Perfectly said. Which ties perfectly into point 8, trustworthiness.
Oh, this one is great. It specifies speaking and acting in alignment, keeping promises, and honoring contracts.
Honoring contracts.
Literally honoring your freelance contract, paying your rent on time, showing up when you told a friend you would help them move.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Xuefeng is completely demystifying salvation here.
Getting it out of the monastery.
Right, because a contract is not just a piece of legal paper. It is a shared reality between two human beings. It's a bond of trust.
So when you break a promise or default on a contract, you fracture that shared reality.
You introduce deception and chaos into the social fabric.
Wow. So stiffing your mechanic or lying to your client isn't just a business failure.
No, it's a profound spiritual failure.
That is wild.
But that is the core mechanism of Xuefeng's philosophy. He is taking the concept of the sacred, pulling it out of the temple, and dropping it right in the middle of the gig economy.
I love that phrasing.
True spirituality isn't proven by how many scriptures you can recite. It is proven by how decently you handle your earthly obligations.
So if you fail at basic social trust, all the esoteric meditations in the world will not grant you entry into the 1,000-year world.
Exactly. It's a closed door.
So what does this all mean for the hierarchy of humanity? Because if ultimate spiritual success is purely based on these 8 simple daily behaviors.
Being clean, being honest, not being jealous, honoring your word.
Yeah, it completely changes who actually gets to go to heaven.
It triggers a radical demographic shift, honestly.
Yeah.
It obliterates every hierarchy we've ever constructed.
Zufeng actually makes this point explicitly at the end of the text. He lists out these stunning contrasts to prove just how accessible heaven really is.
And what does he say?
He says, it doesn't matter if you are an emperor, a billionaire, a general, or a celebrity. Your status offers absolutely zero leverage.
None.
But conversely, it doesn't matter if you are an accomplished monk, a brilliant scholar, or a recognized virtuoso. Your specialized knowledge doesn't buy you a ticket either.
And that's huge, because historically, spiritual enlightenment was often a luxury of the elite.
Right, you needed the wealth and the free time to spend decades studying philosophy or building massive cathedrals.
The peasant, working in the fields for 14 hours a day just to survive, did not have the bandwidth to practice Zen meditation.
Not at all. And Xuefeng's system levels that historical imbalance entirely.
He basically guarantees that an illiterate wanderer or an ordinary rural villager has the exact same access as the billionaire.
There are absolutely no VIP entrances in this system.
No fast pass lane to heaven.
But the detail that truly blew my mind is when he addresses belief itself.
Oh yeah, this is the big one.
He says your physical appearance doesn't matter, your lifespan doesn't matter, and incredibly, it doesn't matter regardless of your beliefs or lack thereof.
That is easily the most radical sentence in the entire text.
An afterlife text that explicitly includes atheists.
Yeah.
He is literally saying that an atheist street sweeper who keeps their neighborhood clean, doesn't try to control their neighbor's joy, honors their promises, and respects nature, has a guaranteed spot in heaven.
A guaranteed spot.
Meanwhile, A devout, hyper-religious billionaire who donates millions but breaks business contracts and harbors deep resentments.
Is completely locked out.
Locked out. It is absolute, uncorrupted egalitarianism.
Su Weifeng poses a final rhetorical question at the end. He says, the standards of heaven are fair, aren't they?
And when you break down the mechanics of the 8 points, you really have to admit that they are perfectly fair.
They are. It shifts the burden of salvation entirely away from what you know or what you claim to believe.
And places it entirely on how you behave as a participant in the ecosystem of humanity.
Which is honestly deeply comforting.
It really is. It takes all the pressure off of achieving some mystical, impossible state of grace and just asks you to be a fundamentally decent roommate to the rest of the world.
A decent roommate. I like that.
So if you are listening to this and feeling crushed by the sheer complexity of modern life, or maybe intimidated by the pressure to be a quote-unquote spiritual person, Xu Feng's 2009 text is just a massive exhale.
It is a huge relief.
You don't need to climb a metaphorical Everest. You don't need to understand esoteric metaphysics.
Yep.
You just need to eradicate your jealousy, stop hindering the freedom of the people you love, respect the environment, pay your bills on time, and, maybe clean your room.
It is a deeply pragmatic framework.
Yeah.
But, as we wrap up, there is one final thought I think we really need to consider.
Okay. What's that?
It's an implication that kind of hums just beneath the surface of Xu Feng's argument. Throughout this whole deep dive, we've been framing the 1,000-year world of heaven as a destination.
Right. A place we journey to after our biological bodies fail. The next stepping stone.
Exactly. But look closely at the mechanics of the 8 requirements again.
Okay.
Revering nature, harboring absolutely no jealousy or greed, never restricting another person's happiness,
Keeping our environments beautiful and harmonious.
and never breaking a promise or a contract. Are these really just the entry requirements for an afterlife?
Wait, what are you getting at?
Or is the author subtly suggesting that if all 8 billion humans simply agreed to live by these exact 8 points right now, today,
Oh, wow.
we wouldn't need to die to experience the 1,000-year world? We would instantly engineer heaven right here on Earth.
That is wow. If we just dropped the bureaucratic paperwork, stopped making things so difficult, and actually lived the checklist, we'd realize we've had the tools to build the destination all along.
Right here in the dirt.
Something to mull over the next time you're tempted to complain in traffic. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.